Hey, we're gonna start this video out just a little bit different than I normally do. I'm gonna kind of mix things up. We're gonna talk about a little bit of camera stuff, and then we're gonna roll into car stuff. So first we're gonna get to this box, which is camera stuff, and then we're gonna get to those boxes, which is car stuff. So I'm gonna make sure that there's some chapter markers here. If you're not really into camera stuff, feel free to go ahead and skip ahead, and we'll get straight to the car stuff. But if you're kind of interested in how things happen behind the scenes, why and how I do the things that I do, then just stick with it. We're just gonna do a little bit of camera stuff. Most of this video is gonna be about car stuff. So let's get into it. Here we are. First box. So a little package from B&H. A bit of used gear. The world is crazy expensive, so you know, you gotta try to be a little more economical, unless you're just balling out of control, which I am not. I am definitely, and have always been, a budget baller. So, ooh, whoa. And, oh. One last box. The lens I'm using right now is a full frame Pictor Zoom. It is a Tamron 15-30 f2.8, which is pretty good. I mean, I bought it mostly is because I was photographing and filming newly completed warehouses. That's all I needed. I picked one up cheap. It's been an okay lens, but the optics of that lens are just, they're okay. Here in the garage, probably good enough. Having a cinema lens is a lot better. Enter the Pictor Zoom. So, here we is. They knew, to me, Super 35mm Pictor Zoom. Let's see what happens if we swap this out. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, gotta do a little screen test. So, we go with this, or do we go with that, or do we go with the previous one? Really, I'm not gonna be able to tell. Let's not judge based off of focus either, because for one, I need to put these, calibrate them, and get them in front of a focus chart. Now, for the sake of recording the rest of this episode, we're gonna go back to the lens that I know and get this video done. All right, hold on 1 minute, let me change things. So, if you're not a camera nerd and you just skipped ahead, we're gonna dive into the next bit of the project. Some stuff pretty mundane. One thing is pretty exciting. Let's start with the mundane. This little bit of toolie right here, which should be a hint as to what is coming. Now hold on, don't stop watching the video. I know you're like, this dude is really just gonna do an oil change. There's more, promise. It's just more than an oil change. Just bear with me. We're getting there. So this box has boxes. I love it when there's boxes in my boxes. And a bag. And ECS, what are you doing? You're giving me go fast parts and you're trying to sell me a beer making machine? Don't drink and drive, kids. ECS really wants you to know that not returnable once installed. Boom, boom. Here we are. Now I did make one mistake because if you didn't already know, which I'd be surprised, is that ECS owns Turner, Turner owns ECS. Either way, they're the same company, and I kind of did not look to see what name brand of spacer I was buying. So my rears are ECS and my fronts are Turner, and the finish is slightly different and the design is different. These are supposed to be lightweight, hence they have the extra bit cut out here, and these are just big old chunkers, which I don't know, is it better? Does it matter? It probably doesn't matter. What does matter is that my rear wheels are getting ready to stick out 15mm further than they were before, and my fronts just 10. And this pile of mouse over here is the lug nuts. So let's just jump right ahead to these things going on. So now here we are, next box in the series, and I went with them for my oil change kit. We're going with some Liqui Moly Special Tech. It seemed like all the cool kids these days, they're doing the Liqui Moly. Back in my day, we used Mobile One. But you know, I don't know what oil oligarch is doing the best things these days. Let's see if I remember how to change the oil on a BMW. I am gonna do one thing that I've never done before on anything than a boat, which is to pull the oil out from the top using an extractor. Let's change the oil. Here we go. So what do we got to do first? Well, the first thing that we got to do is to, then we're just going to put some gloves on. So the goal is to use the largest tube possible. It's like a milkshake.
I drink your milkshake.
The bigger the straw, the better, because it's easier to suck up the milkshake. Now, if I remember correctly, this one will go. We just need to loosen that. That doesn't need to come off. But we also have a little something going on with that, which I'll show you shortly. So paper towels, we're just going to want to keep those handy. Let's see if we can get this medium-sized tube in there. And just to make sure I'm getting all the way down there, and that the tube is longer than the dipstick is. So we're definitely hitting oil and flinging it all over the place already. Not ideal. And it appears like the single tube is going to reach, which is a plus. Off camera over here, we've got the pumping action happening. Let's see. I picked up a thing, still not sure about whether I'm going to use it or not. So I kind of got this on a whim. Fun thing is BMW oil caps. Been the same for a long time. You know, and that one's gotten old and you need to have a good seal. So I picked up the M oil cap. Now the only downside that I can see is that this oil cap matches the battery connector neatly on the engine bay, and so there's that nice bit of symmetry happening there. But this also has like an advertisement for a company of oil, Castrol. But then over here, like it says Mobile, which has kind of been the go-to. But now, that's not even the case. But there we go. Nice M oil cap, just representing the rest of the M bits that are on this sports package. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Look at that fresh golden goodness. Still got one more quart sitting over there on the cart, but I'm gonna check our oil level first. We'll filter back out and we will dribble some in here. Remembering that the oil filter itself is going to displace the fluid. Carefully dribble it along the sides. There we have it. So there we go. Just a couple projects done on the E38, nothing too over the top. Very important that we got that done and do it right, of course. And then to put the spacers on, not a huge difference, but it is just one of those little subtle things that makes a car just look right. Pretty subtle difference. The 10s in the front, the 15s in the back. I think I probably could have gone another 5 mil on both, but I'm really waiting until I get an alignment and some of that camber comes out of the wheels before I push too far into the corners. So I know that this is drivable. I also know that it looks way more clean than it did before. You know, once you lower it and you start, you know, the control arms as they go up, they actually pull the wheels inboard just a little bit. So the oil change, got the spacers on, and also I did it off camera. I threw in a set of WeatherTech mats, the all-weather mats, because the original carpet ones, for one, I just don't like carpet mats in a vehicle. It just doesn't make sense. It's a vehicle that you're out in the world and you're gonna get crap on your feet and you're just gonna bring it into a carpeted surface. I mean, I don't wear shoes at home, or I don't wanna get dirty things onto carpet. So all weather mats make sense. They clean up really easy. And those are just like a good temporary until I get some cocoa mats. Cocoa mats are the way to go in a vintage BMW. It still seems crazy calling this thing vintage, but I guess that makes me vintage. Thanks for tuning in. Always glad to have you. It's a lot of fun.